Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on The Extra Point, your only place for local high school sports and activities. I'm your host, Dolly Fonseth, and today we're at Greeley Central High School, where in a few we're going to be talking to the Greeley Central wrestling team. But first, we did have cameras out last week, and we have got some highlights. Let's take a look. Action on the wrestling mat as the Greeley West Spartans hosted the visiting Fossil Ridge Sabercats. This match started out in the 120-pound division, and things started off well for the Spartans as Adrian Dela Cruz got the win for the Spartans. Dela Cruz gets the pinfall victory in a time of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. In the 126-pound division, West would continue their winning ways as Shedrick Boyd scores the victory. Boyd gets the decision in this match and the win. After that, things started to swing in favor of Fossil Ridge. In the 132-pound division, it was a victory for the Sabercats. Taylor Killian gets the win in a decision over Spartan wrestler Emilio Martinez. In the 138-pound division, Preston Blackburn of Fossil Ridge kept the Sabercats' winning ways going as he registers the win with a decision over Shane Ricks. Those two wins evened this matchup. In the 145-pound division, Austin Lindsay of Fossil Ridge got the pinfall over West wrestler Logan Treziziak. That pinfall put Fossil Ridge in the lead in this match. Another pinfall victory on the 152-pound division by Dylan Morrison over Brandon Zavala would help the Sabercats to the win in this match, as Fossil Ridge gets the 45-20 victory against Greeley West. The Northridge Grizzlies and the Greeley West Spartans renew their crosstown rivalry on the basketball courts in a girl-boys doubleheader, with the girls team taking the court first. This game was tight right from the opening tip-off. Michaela Mack helped to lead the charge for the Grizzlies as she drains this three to start the game off. A little later, the duo of Kaylin Smith and Sarah Gilbert would team up for the hoop as Smith delivers the bullet pass to Gilbert in the low post for the bucket and a 5-0 lead for Northridge. The Spartans countered with some tough defense. Daisha Schumpert with the steal. Sydney Brown finishes the play with the hoop. But it was Northridge with the lead after 1 quarter of play, 5-2. After a slow start, the Spartans started to get their offense in gear. Kayleen White will do a great job of working through traffic and get the shot to drop for West. Northridge got it done in the paint. Sarah Gilbert works the inside with a nice drive to the iron for 2. The Grizzlies would open up a 5-point lead on this Kaylin Smith drive for 2. But the Spartans hung tough. Jeanette Bateman with this nice outlet to Daisha Schumpert, and she cashes it in for 2. And at the half, it was a 3-point game with Northridge leading West 13-10. In the third quarter, the Spartans would kick their game into high gear. Jeanette Bateman makes the steal and gets the ball to Cora Schumpert, who passes it off to her sister Daisha, who drops it in for 2, and we have a whole new ball game. A little later, the Spartans would take a 6-point lead as the Schumpert sisters team up again. This time, Cora finishes things off with the hoop, and West takes a 19-13 lead in the game. The Grizzlies would cut that lead down to 4, thanks to plays like this from Amanda Carey, who starts the play with a steal and then goes coast to coast for the bucket and the foul for a 3-point play. And after 3 quarters, it was West 22 and Northridge 18. West again would increase their lead in the game to 6. Harper Sheets with a nice drive and a hook shot here, and it looked like things were setting up well for the Spartans. But just when it looked like the Spartans had this game, the Grizzlies came right back with clutch shots like this one from Michaela Mack. An excellent give and go between Dacia Schumpert and Harper Sheets would give the Spartans a 28-22 lead late in the 4th. And that would set the stage for a thrilling ending to this game, as the Grizzlies used some clutch shooting from the free throw line to cut the West lead from 6 points down to 1. And with 6 seconds left in the game, West would head to the lineup 34-33 for 2 crucial free throws. Dacia Schumpert hits the front end to make it 35-33, but misses the back end. Kaylin Smith will push the ball up court for Northridge, and with time running out, launches this shot from way outside the arc. That finds nothing but net for the 3-pointer to win the game for the Grizzlies. Northridge wins it on a buzzer beater, 36-35 over Greeley West. The boys took the court in the second half of the doubleheader, and their game was just as thrilling as the girls' game. Early on, the Spartans established their running game. Off the miss, the Spartans take off, working the ball down to Grant Buchanan, who gets the hoop. The Spartans also did a great job of moving the ball around. Daniel Ortiz with the nice drive and dish to Tanner Chacon for the bucket. The Grizzlies countered the Spartan attack with some good outside shooting. Juan Arroyo drives the lane and kicks it out to Blake Carlin, who drains the 3. And after 1 quarter of play, it was Northridge 11 and Greeley West 10. In the second half, Northridge would expand that lead. The Grizzlies again driving and kicking out to the open man. This time it's Steven Trujillo, who connects on the 3. And the Spartans continued to work the ball around effectively. Here, 4 Spartans will touch the ball before James Dowgan finishes the play with the hoop. But at the halftime break, it was the Grizzlies with the 5-point lead, 27-22 over the Spartans. In the 3rd, the Grizzlies started working the ball inside to their big men. Here, Juan Arroyo draws the defense in, then dishes off to Gerard Martinez for the hoop. Northridge would stretch their lead to almost double digits, but the Spartans never let the game get out of hand. West once again went to their up-tempo game, and it pays dividends here with the David Maldonado bucket. With time running out in the 3rd and their lead down to 4 points, Juan Arroyo would hit one of the biggest buckets of the night as he snaps off this 3 at the buzzer to give Northridge a 41-34 lead. In the 4th, the Spartans rallied to completely wipe out the Northridge lead. Off the rebound, the Spartans take off running, and Grant Buchanan spots up on the wing and coolly drains the 3 to tie this game at 43 apiece. The Spartans would take a 47-46 lead with under a minute to go, and the Grizzlies on the attack. Northridge working down low to Gerard Martinez, and he muscles the ball in, and the Grizzlies take a 48-47 lead. 14 seconds left to go, 48-47 Northridge. West with the ball, looking for an opening, but the Grizzlies lock up the Spartans on defense. There is some contact as the clock runs out, but no foul is called, and the Grizzlies hang on to win a nail-biter 48-47 over Greeley West. We hope you enjoyed those highlights, and if you'd like to see more high school sports action, we'll stick around right here on Channel 16 every night at 7 p.m. That's right, folks, every night right here on Channel 16, you can see the game of the week, 7 p.m. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, I know you have a favorite team, so why don't we take a look at their standings, and when we come back, we're talking Greeley Central Wrestling right here on the Extra Point. Welcome back to the show, folks. I'm joined now with Eric Penfold. Eric indeed is the Greeley Central Wrestling head coach. Thank you so much for letting us invade your practice, Eric.
Well, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. So I understand you've been a coach for 7 years. Tell me, are you bringing anything new to the table, or are you sticking to business? You know, what works.
I pretty much am a meat and potatoes kind of guy. We always stick to the same stuff. Our practices start off with the same drilling. We believe in repetition, muscle memory, so that way when guys get tired, we rely on our muscles to know what they're supposed to be doing. This is a philosophy I picked up from my dad. You'll hear him in the background. He was my wrestling coach through high school, junior high and high school. So I bring kind of the same thing. We don't get real fancy. We're a basic move type of team, and we rely on our conditioning. We rely on our mental toughness. That's what we usually use to get us through each practice and through each match.
Now, Coach, this is an extremely physical sport that you guys play. Tell me, what do you do to mentally prepare your athletes?
Well, it starts with our practices. We take an approach to where we call it climbing the mountain. We want our kids in peak physical condition come February for the state tournament. So at the beginning, we're slowly kind of grinding out practices. We kind of increase the intensity week to week. We increase our drill times, our live wrestling times, stuff like that. We really want to try to minimize injuries, so we kind of get our bodies slowly into shape rather than a lot of physical exertion right off the get-go. So by doing that, it helps us become stronger mentally, and it helps us a lot with our physical conditioning. Our training room is right next door, so we try not to get anybody in there as much as possible because it is so accessible to us. So it's kind of a standard rule that you have to check with the coach to actually make sure that you're hurt, which sounds a little crazy, but it does work. Kids get bumps and bruises and all that stuff. And we take the time to evaluate each kid individually to make sure that they're actually injured. And when injuries do happen, which they do, we have an awesome training staff headed up by Marky Swank, who's been recognized as one of the best in Colorado for years. So she works really well with our team as far as keeping us healthy, getting our athletes back on the mat, not just in wrestling, but in basketball and everything. Our training group is absolutely fantastic.
Coach, we're talking about injuries. Are you worried about any injuries that you have on your team right now?
Well, our 138-pounder, his name's Donovan Aliras, he's not in practice today. He has a reoccurring neck and back injury. Our 195-pounder, his name's Jason Reynolds. He actually attends Dayspring High School, but they don't have wrestling, and they just won the Class 1A 8-man football championship. And right after his season, he ended up with a hernia tear, so he's been under the knife, but he'll be back second half of the season. The rest of the guys are just kind of the usual bumps, bruises, sore muscles. The first half of the season is over now for us, so we come back after the first of the year to competition. So this gives us a time to get our guys healthy, to make that push for the second part of the season. So we're anticipating everybody to be healed up by then, but you know, things always happen over break, and you know, it's hard to anticipate what's going to happen with your team, but for the most part, like I said, with our training staff and with the way we approach practices, I think we'll be ready and we'll be healthy come state tournament time.
Now, Coach, I understand weight is huge when it comes to wrestling. Now, what do you coach these kids about nutrition, how to stay healthy? What kind of things do you teach them about that?
Absolutely. This sport is so taxing on a young person's body because not only the practices are intense and grueling, keeping your grades up, all the stuff that we try to keep these kids positive, moving forward as people, not just wrestlers, it all grinds on. And then when you throw in having to watch your weight, and so we try to, like I said, stress eat right first, and then I'm not gonna lie, then towards the end of the season, then we get to the point where we're like, you've got to start skipping a meal or two. And it's tough. I mean, it's what makes this sport great and also makes this sport really, really taxing on a person. It teaches you life lessons like that. Like sometimes you have to really commit yourself to something if you really want it.
Coach Eric, I greatly appreciate you letting us invade your practice and taking time to chat with us. We absolutely appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely. Good luck with the rest of your season.
We appreciate that.
Also joining us on the show, folks, is senior wrestler Willy Sandau. Willy, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. I know you have busy practice, but thanks again.
No problem.
So I thought this was pretty incredible. Why don't you tell everybody at home, how long have you been wrestling?
I started when I was 3 years old, and my dad was a part of Valley Metro, and my brother was 5 and I was 3, and we just started from there.
Willy, wrestling is an extremely physical sport. I know you know that. You've been doing it since you were 3. But what do you do physically and mentally to prepare yourself for matches and practices?
Well, physically, you just have to get warmed up and stretched out, ready to go. Mentally, it's hard to explain how to get there, but you just have to be ready to wrestle when you step on the mat, mentally and physically. Mentally is almost more important than the physical part.
Willy, I am so intrigued about how you student athletes, nutrition is a huge part of just lifestyle, but for wrestling it's even bigger because you have to make weight and things like that. What do you do as a student athlete to make sure that your nutrition is up to par?
Well, throughout the day, every day I drink water. Have to be hydrated. For meals, smaller portions and no fast food, a lot of vegetables and fruits, Gatorade, but a lot of water to stay hydrated completely for wrestling. That's the biggest part is hydration.
Willy, you're a senior on this team, and I'm sure that you're a lighthouse, for your teammates. What is it that you do to be a lighthouse, to make a difference on the team?
Well, just try to always stay positive. Don't get down on them if they mess up. The freshmen, they need guidance, and all of us seniors are there to help them, but you don't get down on them, you just tell them how to do it right instead of, breaking them down, because that doesn't help. But you just have to keep the vibe, I guess, up in the room. You want to stay positive all the time.
Willy, you're a senior this year, and May is just right around the corner. Tell me, what are your plans for after you are done at Greeley Central?
Well, my dad owns a farm, and I've always loved the farm. My plan is to eventually take it over. He was also a firefighter, and I'm kind of following my dad's footsteps, so I'm planning to go to Ames for some fire science and then transfer to CSU for an ag business degree.
Willy, it was an honor to meet you. Absolutely. You are an incredible young man, so thank you so much for taking time out of your practice, and good luck with you the rest of the season and, for your future. It's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is Willy Sandau. I'm Dolly Fonseth. Stick around. We're going to wrap up the Extra Point right here in a few. Welcome back to the show. Folks at home, I want to remind you that this is the last show in December, but in January we're going to have brand new episodes of the Extra Point. You're not going to want to miss it. We will have teams playing over break. Let's take a look at their schedules. These student athletes work extremely hard in the classroom so they can come out here and compete week in and week out. I want to send a message to all District 6 students and all students watching. You guys stay focused, put academics first, and I promise you success is going to follow you absolutely every step of the way. Folks at home, we want to hear from you. That's right, and all you need to do is slide in front of your computer and send us an email. You can send your emails to rnorwood@greeleyschools.org. Again, that's rnorwood@greeleyschools.org. Give us your feedback, whether you like the show, have any opinions, suggestions, any kind of feedback you can give us. We'd love to hear it, and we'll read it on air, and you'll be a local celebrity for a day. Doesn't get much cooler than that. And also, while you're in front of your computer, you can check out the Extra Point. Go to www.greeleyschools.org. Again, that's www.greeleyschools.org. Click on the link video, and there you'll find us, the Extra Point. I want to take this time to thank the Greeley Central wrestling team for letting us invade their practice. We absolutely appreciate that. I also like to thank Dean Popejoy for all of his incredible highlights. Great job, Dean. And the man behind the camera as we speak, Brian Sathi, who week in and week out is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Brian, for all of your hard work. And folks at home, I want to wish you an absolutely wonderful holiday. My name is Dolly Fonseth. Don't forget to tune in 2012. It's a brand new year. Happy holidays from the Extra Point.